Hello there guys, my name is MrYorkiesWorld and this is the first video in quite a while that I've made on the channel and I do apologise for that. However, I think I'll make up for that with the type of aircraft that we're going to be flying today. As you can see, we are now in the Aerosoft A319. We are at Edinburgh today. This is going to be part number 4 of the UK and Ireland Tour 2018. In the gorgeous British Airways variant of the A319, we're going to be travelling from Edinburgh to Gatwick, which is EGPH to EGKK, with British Airways 2945. As you can see, it's very rainy as well. But nevertheless, this is the first time really that I'm going to be flying this aircraft properly, so wish me luck. What you're about to see, this is the lovely cockpit by the way, what you're about to see is by no means how you should fly this aircraft. It's probably all wrong, but this is what works for me. So the QNH 1012, we've just switched on the external power. We can sort out the IRSs. I think that's how you do it. We also need to go ahead and switch over the active nav data, which for some reason I have installed the latest Navigraph, but it's not working in the A319 for some bizarre reason on my system. So EGPH to EGKK is our company route. You will have to just bear with me. I just need to set Pro ATCX going. Something I forgot to do before we started this flight.
Echo, Golf, Papa, Hotel, Airport information.
And we can switch on the radios and just transfer over that frequency. There we go, to get rid of the ATIS. Right, parking brake, we can set that. All of the procedures that I'm using, again, are based on what I've learnt from watching other YouTubers. I don't tend to read manuals and things like that because I really haven't got time for doing that. I like to jump in and learn things as I go along. So let's just use the calculator. We can choose a random variant, load or generate the load sheet, and I'm going to take the cheater's way out and just go to load fuel from the load sheet. Load all of the fuel and payload instant. I don't want to really wait for it to be on. GSX isn't working either with this aircraft yet. I've not figured out how to get it working because it keeps telling me to open up exit 3, even though I don't think there is an exit 3 on this aircraft. Or if there is, it's just, yeah. So seatbelts and no portable devices. We can switch on the nav light if it'll work. There we go. We've just armed the emergency lights as well. Again, bear with me. This is not how you should fly this aircraft, and this is probably all wrong, but I'm just doing this for the sake of it. So I will eventually get used to the aircraft fully, but I just wanted to get something on the channel. So we can turn on the displays. The thing is with this channel, I tend to take a lot of time out to spend time with family. It's summertime as well, so it's very, very warm, which makes it unbearable to sit in the office here that I've got, and the setup that I've got. Very, very warm, very, very muggy. And the last thing I want to be doing really is spending that time sat at a red hot computer, so I've been enjoying myself a little.
Expect clearance within 2 minutes.
So I've been asked to wait about 2 minutes just for clearance. That's fine, and we'll put the initial altitude in. We don't need to set the runway heading. The transponder is set to standby, which is fine. I'm really excited to try this aircraft out. I've had it for a good few weeks now, and I've been doing some tests just to get used to it. But nevertheless, I think I'm ready. I'm going to request the catering service because I think this is the only one that works.
Are you ready to copy?
We are ready.
We are ready. Go ahead.
Speedbird 2945. Clear to Echo Golf Kilo Kilo via Tango Lima Alpha 6 Charlie departure route. And then, as filed, climb and maintain flight level 70. 350 within 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency is
auto brake to max.
1.8. Squawk 6670. QNH 1012.
Right, so our flight number is BAW2945 today. I'm going to wait while this transmission's finished.
Departure frequency 131.8, squawk 6670, QNH 1012, Speedbird 2945.
Speedbird 2945, readback correct.
Cost index is 15, and cruise altitude is 350.
Roger, 121.75, Speedbird 2945.
We can sort out the zero fuel weight and the block fuel. And we might as well request the winds as well. That's another thing I really like about the A319 is you can request the winds. I'm still waiting for the A320. It's currently the 24th of July at the time of making this video. I don't know whether it's been released yet. I've not been spending much time concentrating on that, to be honest. Now we need to do the flaps thing, so that's going to be flaps 1 up 0.1. And that goes into that box there. I'm not too sure on the flex stuff, so I'll leave that. But we do need to set up our departure. So EGPH, departure. We're going to be using runway 24 with the TLA 6 Charlie departure. There we go. Insert that. And I'm literally going to do the same for the arrival as well, because we're going to be in the air for about an hour and 20 minutes. So it's pretty straightforward. I'm not going to wait until we get there to actually program that in. Probably should do, but I really don't care. Anybody who watches this channel, you know that I do not follow procedures, as I should, because this is a casual flight sim channel, and we all like to have a little bit of fun. So there's the route. You can use a mouse wheel as well on the buttons, which I find quite good. Get rid of that discontinuity. I think that's the only one that's going to be there. There is another one, but you can't do anything about that. That's the route. And with that, we can put the fix information in. So EGKK, a little bit more complicated than the 737, because you have to actually put the airport in every time and then do it as a new fix, even though you're doing like 3 rings. So EGKK 50, EGKK 100. You see what I mean by the waiting for your action, open exit 3? We haven't got an exit 3. So whether it works or not, I don't know. But they're the fixed rings, so 50, 100 and 150 nautical mile radius rings. APU master, and we can start the APU up itself. There we go. And with that, I don't think there's much else to do, to be honest. We should be able to just wait until the boarding and everything, or the catering's been done. We'll imagine that the passengers are on already, because GSX doesn't work with that for some reason. But nevertheless, I will catch up with you guys in just a few minutes when everything's sorted on the aircraft. Alright guys, so everything's sorted. I don't know why I've got the checklist page up, because we don't use checklists. I did originally when I first started using the aircraft, but I don't actually tend to use the automated checklists on this aircraft now. I prefer to learn it myself. So there we are, in a very rainy, very foggy by the looks of it as well, EGPH, or Edinburgh. Gate number 8 we're at today. We're going to request pushback and start.
945. Request start up and pushback.
Fuel pumps can come on.
945. Startup is approved.
And we've been approved for pushback and start, so that's good. We can switch on the ground control. What else do we need? Beacon light. Actually, no, we don't need the strobes until we're on the runway. That's a bit of an obvious one. We might as well switch off external power, because we don't need that now. We're on the APU. P3D 4.3, I've been spending hours upon hours. Oh, here we go. I don't think GSX is going to work. Waiting for other services. Right, well, we're just going to reset the position then. 4.3 in P3D is extremely unstable in terms of stutters and stuff like that. I have literally spent hours doing tweaks in the config, resetting the sim, uninstalling FSUIPC. It's a completely brand new reinstallation as well, but for some reason it likes to be very very stuttery at times, and I can't do anything about that. So it's something to do with P3D 4.3. Nothing I can do. We can arm the spoilers. And if we go to the flight plan page, I don't know what the hell that beep was. Checklists are off, so I don't know why it's beeping at me. But yeah, there we go. So you can probably tell there's a little bit of stutter, and as we get over to Gatwick, it's absolutely ridiculous. I'm also suffering from lack of auto-gen in terms of buildings, regardless of what my settings are. I have got a fresh config file now with no tweaks in it whatsoever, and it still makes no difference. So it's definitely something to do with the the base simulator, P3D 4.3.
Now clear, ready to push. Release parking brakes, please.
Parking brake released.
Clear behind. Commencing push.
Ignition.
Engines clear. Start at your discretion.
And we can start engine number 2. Which doesn't appear to be doing much, which is a bit concerning. Bear in mind, this is probably something I've made a mistake on because I'm literally still getting to know this aircraft. I'm pretty basic with all the basic stuff. I'm like confident with that, but there's still a few things to actually get to know. But there's a nice wing view. There's a Flybe over there and an EasyJet next to us. Very, very foggy. The auto-gen that's actually in the airport and around the airport area, that's fine. But for some reason we're having problems with auto-gen in sort of like generic areas where we'd usually have quite a bit of it. Not that I'm too bothered, but there we go. Right, I'm not exactly sure what the problem could be. We're definitely on ignition and start. Or in the start position. I think, actually, APU bleed. We don't want to switch off the APU. Try the APU bleed. See if that's going to work. I think that is why it's not working. Aha! There we go. It's spinning. There we go. Stupid Yorkie forgot the APU bleed. Fantastic. What can I say? Nevertheless, engine number 2 starting up. We can set the parking brakes now. Flaps we can set to 1. I like the cabin crew sounds as well. Engine number 1. If we just move the camera a little bit. There we go. There's an EasyJet on the runway. Right. Auto throttle armed. Our initial altitude is 7,000 feet.
Disconnected and clear. Bypass pin is removed.
Ignition back to normal. APU bleed off. APU off. Taxi lights. Runway turn-offs. And our trim is up 0.1. Now, bear in mind, I don't know whether this is correct, but I'm going to try and do it as I think it should be set. So 0.1 is in the up area, and it should be around there, I would imagine. Correct me if I'm wrong. So obviously halfway would be like 0.5, so... Right, ground spoilers. They are set, as they should be. Auto brake is on max. The auto throttle and everything's set. GSX says that we can go. We just need to request taxi permission.
Speedbird 29045. Request taxi.
Speedbird 29045. Taxi via Alpha. Runway 24.
Via Alpha. Runway 24. Speedbird 29045.
Right. And with that, we can begin a nice gentle acceleration. There goes GSX. Very buggy in 4.3 and even more buggy with the new Aerosoft Airbus. I'm pretty sure we'll have to sort that out at some point. Nevertheless, we're on our way. We have got some cabin crew noises in the background. They are from GSX and they don't really suit the generic voices that come with the Aerosoft Airbus because the lady in the back's American and the lady on the generic noises from Aerosoft isn't. So, there we go. But nevertheless, we are taxiing. We've managed to start up from a cold and dark state. And we're on our way. Whether or not this is the correct procedure to do so, I really don't care. But look how bad this weather is. It's not the best weather in the world. We've got a nice long taxi down here as well. We've got an aircraft coming in to land by the looks of it, and I don't think he's going to be able to. Because there's a Ryanair on the runway. Oops, maybe that was a little bit too much acceleration. Just trying to get our speed up. Our ground speed's like 15 knots, something like that. There we go, he's gone around. And that looks to me like another Ryanair. Lovely effects coming from the wheel. There he goes. So you probably already noticed the stutter. It's quite annoying. There's not much I can really do about it. I've tried and I've tried and I've tried, but I can't find that balance between performance and quality very well in 4.3. Got the flaps set and everything. Now we have got a little bit of turbulence as well, so I am going to try and control the aircraft manually once we actually leave the ground. I can't actually remember what our V1 speed is, or rotate, or anything like that. So I think I'll just... I think it was like 124 or something like that. Like 124. But nevertheless, I think we're supposed to confirm it in the FMC, but I haven't, so it's not going to show up on the PFD. But... at this point, I'm not really too fussed.
Tower,
so, call tower nice and early.
Runway 24, ready for departure.
Speedbird 2945, hold your position.
And there's an aircraft literally coming in, so we're going to set the parking brake. TA and RA with the transponder. And we can literally just wait here for a few minutes. So, strobe lights can come on. Wing lights on because of the weather. Landing lights on, and we'll set the nose light to take off. Well, we're not really clear for takeoff, but we're cleared to wait. Oh, there we go. Ultimate Traffic Live tends to have a little bit of a problem as well in 4.3. It might be that, or it might be the AFCAD of the runway or anything like that, or of the airport. But aircraft tend to land, and then instead of going to the next sort of available exit on the runway, they just like to take a full 180, go back on themselves up the runway, and take another take the exit behind them, which is a bit strange. But you can see new version of EFB. This is EFB version 2. There's the aircraft that's just landed. Obviously, you can see all the other information. It's a nice, easy interface. The other one was as well. The only thing I don't like about version 2 of EFB is it doesn't allow you to save flight plans or export them to formats such as Airbus or PMD, like Aerosoft PMDG. So I have to use SimBrief for that, or you can go into the old version of EFB and do it that way. But it's I'm not sure why they did it. It's a little bit stupid, but we're going to reset Ultimate Traffic Live because I really can't be bothered with waiting for that aircraft to come back up.
2945, line up on runway 24.
Not realistic, but who cares? This is not a realistic channel.
Speedbird 2945.
Right, so we've been cleared to line up, which we will. Again, I really do wish that I would have actually inputted the V2 speeds and everything, or at least like accepted them. I think you have to accept them or confirm them or something. Here comes the stutter. Really bad stutter. Nothing I can do about it. It's something that Lockheed Martin need to sort out because it is absolutely destroying the sim. And I can't be bothered going back to a previous version. But we're clear for takeoff. Start the clock.
Speedbird 2945.
Spool the engines up a little bit. And Toga. Again, I'm not fully adequate in terms of like the I'm not familiar with the flex thing and everything, but I'll do my best. The main thing is we get off the ground and we get back on the ground safely. So I think our rotate sort of thing was around here. So we shall... Whoa, that was a bit quick. There we go, we're up in the air regardless. Positive rate, gear up. Goodbye, Edinburgh. You see the trees and everything and the buildings look okay there, but Just wait until we get a bit further along into the flight plan and you'll see what I mean. Right, I think if I leave it in toga mode, because last time I tried reducing it, it told me not to.
Continue via the Tango Lima Alpha 6 Charlie, departure, climb and maintain, flight level 70.
Little bit of, in fact a lot of turbulence. May have to engage the autopilot a little bit early. The controls of this aircraft are a little bit different, or very much different in fact. So autopilot's on, it's telling me to set the thrust lever to climb, or CLB. So let me try that. Not that one. No, that's not it. CLB, it says CLB on the actual throttle quadrant. I was trying to hit that flex thing, because I don't know where you're supposed to do the flex. But nevertheless, there we go, it's not shouting at me now. Must be doing something right. There's the stutter, and there's the wind and the fog. British Airways flight 2945 is officially off the ground. So sort out the spoilers, they don't need to be armed anymore. Runway turn-offs, they can come off even though we're not above 10,000. We can switch the nose lights off as well. Wing lights, not going to be bothered about those. And auto with the seat belts and portable devices. Standard pressurization.
Speedbird 2945, climb and maintain, flight level 210.
210.
Climb into flight level 210, Speedbird 2945.
Well, the aircraft doesn't appear to be stalling, shouting at me, having a go at me or anything like that, so we must be doing something right at least.
Departure Jersey 886, with you passing flight level 119 for flight level
Cannot see a thing. Oh, there we go.
Roger, descend and maintain, flight level 60.
We're just coming up above the clouds.
Jersey 886.
Look at that view. Absolutely gorgeous.
With you passing flight level 138,
Love those clouds.
flight level 180.
Ryanair 817, identify, climb and maintain, flight level 180.
Coming up on 10,000 feet,
Flight level 180.
we can switch
Ryanair
off
817.
the landing lights. Oops, not retract them. There we go. There's a cabin announcement. And that, people, is how MrYorkiesWorld takes off in the Airbus A319 from Aerosoft. Wasn't too happy with the sort of flare we did when we took off, but can't really have your cake and eat it. It's a brand new aircraft. I've only just really started doing proper flights in it. Gorgeous, gorgeous livery. But nevertheless, I think we better catch up with you guys after some gorgeous cinematics on the way over to Gatwick. So I'll see you in a bit.
Speedbird 29045.
Okay guys, so as you just heard, we are literally beginning our descent now to 250. I'm going to go ahead and take control of the speed as well. Keep it at around 240 or 250. 240 is probably best. 246 to be exact. And we're going to just take control of the vertical speed so the aircraft doesn't dive. And there we go, so the descent has begun. Nice wing view, a little bit of stutter. Gorgeous. No, I have not switched on the seatbelt signs. We would not switch them on until around 10,000 feet, but there we go. I am going to activate the approach phase because we're going to begin the approach. I probably should do that a little bit later on, but nevertheless. So, let me just go up and airports. We can go to EGKK. Select that. And we've got the elevation, we've got the transition altitude, wind 180 at 5, 19 degrees, and 1015 on the quick QNH. So 1015 and 19 degrees. And we can also put that wind in as well. We might as well get it all set up. So 180 at 5 knots. We're using a full landing config. So we're going to be using flaps full. The speed is automatically managed, so we don't have to actually input the final approach speed. We can just literally click the little knob on the MCP and it will automatically sort that out. So let's just go to EFB again and try and find out. I'm trying to remember how to use this because I don't know why, but it's not giving me any option to see the arrival or anything. But nevertheless, we've got it programmed in. We know that we've got Pro ATCX telling us which way to go, so that's fine.
Climbing to flight level 300.
Right.
133.
So apart from that, look at that view. Absolutely fantastic view. Love the clouds. The cloud shadows are finally working again. I got them to work. So 395 is going to be the minimums. So we stick that into the barrow. Everything else, like all the other phases, they're already sorted. We don't have to worry about them. Everything's sort of configured. Hopefully we'll be able to see some replays, but I must warn you, they are going to be very, very stuttery because of P3D 4.3. But there we go. So nevertheless, I will catch up with you guys a little bit later on when we're ready to land. Okay guys, so we're at 2,000 feet. We are literally just getting ready to turn left onto the localizer any minute now. Got a nice speed of 190. Loads of stutter. This is what I mean by the auto-gen. There's hardly any buildings or anything around, which is quite unusual. There's plenty of trees, but buildings-wise, we don't have many at all. So we should be coming up pretty shortly. We got messed around with ATC a little bit. They wanted us to go back on ourselves and turn around in a circle and do silly things like that. Again, it's not been updated since... Pro ATCX hasn't been fully updated or properly updated since P3D 4.3 came out anyway, so I'm still waiting for that. Not every add-on is going to work.
29045, descend and maintain, 2000, cleared final approach, contact tower at the marker.
So we're cleared for the final approach. I'm just going to turn left to 315, sort of vector myself, so that we can capture the localizer. Should be any minute now, and then we can set localizer. So if we set the heading to around 300, and then we should be okay. We should start to see the localizer diamond coming in very, very shortly. Again, apologies about the stutter, nothing I can do about it. Nevertheless, here we go, we're turning left onto the localizer. Not going to activate approach hold just yet.
Tower, Speedbird 29045, on final, runway 26 left.
Speedbird 29045,
So final approach speed, we can switch speed hold to managed, or autopilot managed.
QNH1015. Clear to land runway 26 left, speedbird 29045.
And of course we can take the flaps down with that as well. So flaps 3. Lovely view. Here we go with the gear. On its way down. There we go. And we can, of course, prepare ourselves to land this bird. Now, you're going to notice as well I have a little bit of an issue with texture loading and scenery loading at Gatwick. For some reason it doesn't want to load in. We're going to wait until we've captured the glide slope before we go ahead and activate approach hold. But we are at flaps full, auto brake is armed, or speed brake is armed, and the spoilers. And of course we're going with auto brake medium. So here comes the glide slope. Just let it get a little bit closer, and then we might as well activate the approach phase in just a second. Approach mode. Diamond Central now, there we go. And you can see the aircraft is fully configured for landing now. Our go around altitude is indeed 2000, so that's fine. Looking good. Nice wing view. So there are some autogen buildings, but there's not many. And I'm not entirely sure why that is. There's the black textures. And the scenery and everything finally loads in. There we go. The fibre frame time fraction tweak can help that, but on my system it tends to get rid of more of the autogen as well, so that I don't really need that. Nevertheless though, here we come. I'll try and disconnect at about 1,000 feet, which will be coming up very shortly. There we go. Wasn't exactly 1,000 because we're actually at 1,100, but there we go. The aircraft is now mine. Now I've noticed when I'm landing this aircraft it's quite difficult to maintain control of it in terms of like banking left and right. It's very, very sensitive compared to like the NG, or the NGX should I say. But we'll do what we can. See if we can't mess up the landing. Just small, tiny movements on the joystick. You can sort of start to notice that stutter coming in now, and when we're about ready to land, you'll notice it even more. 500 feet, checked.
400.
There's the aircraft just at the threshold there, waiting for us.
300.
A little bit low.
100 above. 200. Minimum.
Continue. Try and get those pappies back. Swaying a little bit to the left and a little bit to the right.
70, 60, 50, 40, 30.
Idle
Retard,
throttles.
10, 5.
And touchdown, there we go. Maybe a little bit rough. Reversers. Manual braking.
121.8. Speedbird 29045.
We can take the exit to the right. Well, I was pretty impressed with that actually, considering the fact that the rest of my landings in this aircraft have been disastrous. We will be able to have a look at some replays of that landing, but the only problem is again, we're going to be dealing with a massive amount of stuttering. P3D definitely needs an update. We need to sort that out. Because I never had this problem with the exact same settings in P3D 4.2. But there we go. So nevertheless, let's take a look at some of those replays of that landing and see how we did. If we can just stop here. There we go. Right, let's take a look. Right, okay, so apart from the stutter-tastic landing there, we did okay. So we can retract the flaps. We can put the spoilers away, or the speed brakes. Flaps on the way up. Stop the clock. What else? So, strobes can come off. The nose light can go to taxi. Landing lights off. What else? Let's just take a look. Transponder to standby. And I think if we switch off the VORs, start the APU. And I think that's about it, to be honest. So we can request taxi and get this bird to the gate. Right, okay, so we're actually going to be going to gate 105, which is a regular gate that I usually use when I'm flying from Gatwick. This time we're going to fly into Gatwick using that gate. The stutter is ridiculous. But nevertheless, this just goes to show how much the P3D config tweaks can actually help, because this P3D config that I'm using right now in this video has absolutely no tweaks whatsoever. And you can see that the common misconception of P3D working perfectly fine without tweaks is actually incorrect. But we'll have to find the perfect combination or the perfect tweak. I do already have a few of them in mind that have worked in the past. I do have quite a bit of knowledge in terms of what the tweaks do and which ones are best to use, but 4.3 has really just baffled me, because a lot of them that you'd think that would work actually don't. Or they make no difference, or very little difference whatsoever, so who knows. Nevertheless, let's just try and line ourselves up perfectly, or as best we can. Just shift this view a little bit. And I think that will do. Parking brake set. Right, here we are at gate 105. Welcome everybody to London Gatwick. We can cut off the engines. This has been part number 4 of the UK and Ireland Tour 2018 on the MrYorkiesWorld channel. I'm going to connect external power and everything like that. We can, of course, switch off the seatbelt signs now, if I can speak. Switch off the APU. External power we can activate. Switch off the fuel pumps. Oops, there we go. IRSs, we can switch those off. There's a lot more that we could do, APU bleed. There's a lot more we can do, but I'm just going to leave it at that for now, to be honest. Welcome, everybody, to London Gatwick. Deboarding has begun. Hope you enjoyed the flight, guys. This is hopefully going to be the start of some brand new videos coming in this aircraft and, of course, in the 787 as well, because we haven't done any flights in that as of late. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.